My best friend's phone call 48 hours before my wedding saved me from making the biggest mistake of my life. The truth was devastating. I, 32M, never thought I'd be writing this, but I need to get this off my chest. 2 days before what was supposed to be the happiest day of my life, everything I knew came crashing down with just one phone call. It was around 11 p.m., and I was going through the final wedding preparations when my phone rang. The moment I saw his name on the screen, I knew something was wrong. My childhood friend never calls this late, and we hadn't spoken much since he declined to be my best man 6 months ago, citing work commitments. Hey, are you alone? His voice was shaking. I need to tell you something, and you need to be sitting down for this. My stomach dropped. I went to my home office, away from my fiancée who was sleeping in our bedroom. What's going on? He took a deep breath. I've been carrying this guilt for months now, and I can't let you go through with this wedding without knowing the truth. The next 20 minutes felt like a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. He told me about running into my fiancée at a bar last year, while I was away on a business trip. According to him, she wasn't alone. She was with her co-worker, the same guy she had repeatedly told me was just a friend and happily married. But what he saw that night told a different story. The way they were sitting, how close they were, the intimate touches. My friend took photos, not to spy, but because he couldn't believe what he was seeing. He sent them to me while we were still on the call. My hands were shaking as I opened the images. There she was, the woman I'd been with for 4 years, the one I was supposed to marry in 48 hours, sitting in a dimly lit corner booth. Her hand was intertwined with his, and the way they were looking at each other. I've seen that look before, in the early days of our relationship. There's more, my friend's voice cracked. I followed them when they left. They went to his car, and, I'm so sorry, man. I felt sick. The room was spinning. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She saw me that night. She came to my office the next day, begging me not to tell you. She said it was a one-time mistake, that she loved you and would never do it again. I believed her. But last week, I saw them again at the same bar. Same corner booth. Same looks. Same everything. I sat there in silence, my whole world unraveling. 4 years together, 2 years living together, countless memories, all now tainted by doubt and betrayal. The engagement ring I'd spent months saving for, the venue deposits, the guest list, everything felt like a cruel joke. I know the timing is terrible, he continued, but I couldn't live with myself if I let you marry her without knowing. After hanging up, I spent hours sitting in that dark office, scrolling through old photos on my phone, looking for signs I might have missed. The late nights at work, the girls' nights out, that seemed to happen more frequently, the way she'd guard her phone. It all started making sense. Around 3 a.m., I heard footsteps in the hallway. She was standing in the doorway, squinting at the light from my phone. Babe, why are you still up? Come to bed. I looked at her. This woman I thought I knew better than anyone else in the world, and felt nothing but numbness. We need to talk. Her face changed when she saw the look in my eyes. She must have known, right then, that something was terribly wrong. And as I pulled up those photos on my phone, I realized this was just the beginning of what would become the longest 48 hours of my life. Update 1. The moment I showed her those photos, her entire demeanor changed. First came the shock, then the denial, and finally, the tears. She started with the usual excuses, it's not what it looks like, and you're misunderstanding everything. But as I sat there, quietly showing her photo after photo, her defenses began to crumble. It was a mistake, she whispered, her voice breaking. I never meant for any of this to happen. I asked her how long it had been going on. She claimed it started 6 months ago, just a friendly coffee after work that turned into drinks. But something about her story didn't add up. My friend had seen them a year ago, not 6 months. When I pointed this out, she broke down completely. Fine. It's been happening on and off for about a year, she admitted, tears streaming down her face. But I ended it, I swear. What your friend saw last week, that was goodbye. I told him I couldn't do this anymore, that I was choosing you. I laughed. Actually laughed. It wasn't funny, but the absurdity of it all, her claiming she chose me, while actively cheating, it was just too much. You didn't choose me, I said quietly. You got caught. She tried to grab my hand, but I pulled away. The thought of her touch made my skin crawl. We can fix this, she pleaded. We can postpone the wedding, get counseling. Please, don't throw away 4 years over one mistake. One mistake. I stood up, my voice rising despite my attempts to stay calm. A mistake is forgetting to buy milk. A mistake is being late for dinner. What you did, carrying on an affair for a year, lying to my face every day, planning our wedding while seeing him, those were choices. Hundreds of choices, every single day, to betray me. The sun was starting to rise by the time we finished talking. She admitted that her co-worker wasn't actually married. Another lie she'd told to make their friendship seem more innocent. They had gotten close during a project last year, and one thing led to another. She swore they never slept together, but at this point, I didn't know what to believe. I called my best friend, the one who was actually going to be my best man, at 6 a.m. He came over immediately. I needed someone level-headed to help me figure out what to do about the wedding. We had over 200 guests, many flying in from out of state. The venue was paid for, non-refundable. Everything was set for the day after tomorrow. Update 2. My best man took charge of the situation. He started making calls while I sat on the couch, staring at nothing. My fiancée had locked herself in our bedroom, occasionally emerging to beg for another chance before retreating when I wouldn't respond. By noon, word had started spreading. My parents called first, then hers. My phone was flooded with messages from concerned friends and relatives. Everyone wanted to know what happened, if the wedding was really off, if we could work things out. The breaking point came when her coworker's wife called me. Yes, the man was actually married, another lie exposed. His wife had suspected something for months, but didn't have proof. She thanked me for inadvertently exposing the truth and apologized for the role her husband played in destroying my relationship. That afternoon, I went to our bedroom and knocked on the door. My fiancée opened it, her eyes red and puffy from crying. Pack what you need for a few days, I told her. I want you out of the house by tonight. You can come back for the rest of your things once I've figured out what I'm doing. Where am I supposed to go? She asked, her voice small. That's not my problem anymore, I replied. Maybe ask your coworker. His wife just kicked him out too. She started crying again, saying she never meant to hurt anyone, that she was confused and scared about getting married, that she did love me. I just walked away. Every word from her mouth felt like another lie. My best man and I spent the rest of the day calling vendors and guests. Most were understanding, though we lost thousands in deposits. Some relatives were angry about their non-refundable flights. I couldn't bring myself to care. That evening, while my fiancée was packing, her mother came over. I expected her to beg on her daughter's behalf, but instead, she hugged me and apologized. I raised her better than this, she said, tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry she hurt you. That broke something in me, and for the first time since that phone call, I cried. After they left, my best man ordered pizza, and we cracked open some beers. You know what the worst part is? I said, staring at the ceiling. Tomorrow was supposed to be the rehearsal dinner. Instead, I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to restart my life at 32. He didn't offer any platitudes or advice. He just sat with me, letting me process everything. Around midnight, my phone buzzed, a text from my fiancée. I know you hate me right now, but please know that despite everything, what we had was real. I just got lost somewhere along the way. I'm staying at my parents' house if you want to talk. I didn't reply. Instead, I opened my laptop and started looking for apartments. I couldn't stay in this house, where every room held memories of our life together, memories that now felt tainted and false. My childhood friend called again to check on me. I thanked him for telling me the truth, even though the timing was awful. Better now than after the wedding, he said. Better now than finding out years down the road, maybe after kids were involved. He was right, of course. But sitting there in my half-empty house, surrounded by wedding gifts that would need to be returned and photos that would need to be taken down, it was hard to feel anything but lost. Tomorrow, I would need to face all the people who were supposed to celebrate our love. Instead, I would be explaining why there would be no celebration, no wedding, no happily ever after. As I finally lay down to sleep on the couch, I couldn't face our bed. I realized something. While my world had been shattered, at least I knew the truth. At least I hadn't said, I do to a lie. Sometimes, the most painful truths are better than the most comfortable lies. With that thought, I closed my eyes, knowing that when I opened them, I would begin the process of rebuilding my life. Alone, but at least with my dignity intact. Update 3. It's been a week since what was supposed to be my wedding day. The past 7 days have been a blur of returning gifts, canceling honeymoon reservations, and dealing with the aftermath of a canceled wedding. But something happened yesterday that I need to share. The day that should have been our wedding, I turned off my phone and spent it with my best man and a few close friends. We didn't talk about her or the wedding. We just played video games and ordered takeout, like we were in college again. It helped, being surrounded by people who didn't need me to explain or relive anything. But yesterday, I got a letter. It was from my ex-fiancée's younger sister. She'd written it by hand, and what she revealed made me realize I'd only seen the tip of the iceberg. According to her sister, the affair with the coworker wasn't the first time. There had been another incident 2 years ago, with a different guy, which her sister had caught, but kept quiet about, because my ex had promised it was a one-time thing and swore she'd never do it again. Her sister had been carrying that guilt ever since, and seeing everything fall apart now had finally pushed her to tell the truth. Reading that letter felt like being punched in the gut all over again. 2 years ago, that was right after we got engaged. While I was planning our future, I couldn't even finish the thought. I decided to meet with her sister at a coffee shop. She brought text messages, dating back 2 years, showing her confronting my ex about the first affair. My ex's responses were what hit me hardest. It's not a big deal. I was just having fun before settling down, and what he doesn't know won't hurt him. Those messages changed everything. The woman I'd been mourning, the relationship I'd been grieving, they never existed. I'd been in love with an illusion, a carefully crafted facade. The real person behind it was someone who could smile at me over breakfast while texting another man, who could plan our wedding while meeting someone else in hidden corners of bars. Update 4. Today, I finally went back to our house to pack up the rest of my things. I'd found a small apartment across town and needed to move out before she came to get her stuff. My best man and childhood friend helped. making the process faster and less painful than doing it alone. While packing, I found the journal she kept when we first started dating. I know I shouldn't have, but I read it. The early entries were full of love and excitement about our relationship. Then, gradually, the tone changed. She wrote about feeling trapped by my perfectness, about wanting excitement and drama. The last entry was from 6 months ago. Sometimes I wonder if I'm even capable of being faithful. Maybe I'm just broken. Reading those words, something shifted in me. The anger that had been burning inside started to fade, replaced by something closer to pity. She wasn't some evil mastermind who set out to destroy me. She was just someone too cowardly to face her own issues, too selfish to consider the damage she was doing to others. Her coworker's wife reached out to me again. They're getting divorced. Apparently, this wasn't his first affair either. She told me they both did us a favor by showing their true colors before we legally bound ourselves to them. We deserve better, she said. We deserve whole love, not fractured loyalties. Update 5. It's been 2 weeks now. My ex has tried to contact me several times, each message more desperate than the last. She's been telling people she's going to therapy, that she's working on herself. Maybe she is, but that's not my journey anymore. Yesterday, I ran into her mother at the grocery store. She started crying right there in the produce section. She said my ex was a mess, that she'd quit her job and was talking about moving to a different city for a fresh start. Part of me felt bad for her, but a bigger part felt nothing. It was like watching the finale of a TV show I used to love but had grown out of. The wedding venue called. Someone had canceled their date in October, and they offered to transfer our deposit to that date if we wanted to try again. The manager was embarrassed when I explained we weren't postponing, we were separating. She ended up refunding half the deposit, against policy, she said. But sometimes life needs a little kindness. I used that money to book a solo trip to the mountains next month. Not the honeymoon we'd planned, but maybe something better, a chance to reconnect with myself, to figure out who I am outside of this relationship that consumed 4 years of my life. Final update. Tonight, I met up with my childhood friend, the one who made that life-changing phone call. Over beers, he confessed he'd almost backed out of telling me several times. But then I thought about my own wedding day, he said, and how I'd want someone to tell me the truth, no matter how much it hurt. As we talked, I realized something important. Yes, my relationship ended in the worst possible way. Yes, I'm still dealing with trust issues and probably will be for a while. But I'm also free. Free from lies, free from deception, free from loving someone who wasn't capable of loving me the same way. To everyone who's messaged asking if I regret calling off the wedding, no, not for a second. The pain of ending things is nothing compared to the pain of living a lie. Would it have been easier to ignore the truth and go through with the wedding? Maybe. But I've learned that sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that save us. I don't know what the future holds. Right now, I'm focusing on small victories, getting through each day, setting up my new apartment, rediscovering old hobbies I'd let slide. I'm learning that it's okay to not be okay sometimes, and that healing isn't linear. Someone asked me yesterday if I still believe in love. The truth is, I do. Not the fairy tale kind, but the real kind. The kind built on honesty and respect. The kind that makes you want to be better instead of making you feel like you need to be different. For now, though, I'm learning to love myself again. And maybe that's the most important love story of all. Edit. Thank you all for the support and awards. Writing this out has been therapeutic. To those sharing similar stories in the comments, I see you, I hear you, and we're going to be okay.